CJ Peterson, and welcome to The Journey is Real. We talk to real people with real passions who share a real portion of their hearts. Today, my guest is Tolik Borts, and we're going to be talking about Altrunite. And basically, what we do is we titled the podcast The Cinderella Story of Alternite NonProfit. So thank you for coming on today, Tolik. Appreciate it.
Thank you, CJ. It's a pleasure to be here. We really appreciate you giving us a time and a platform to spread awareness. We appreciate it. So thank you.
No problem. Can you share a little bit about what Alternite is and what it does?
Absolutely. So we are a children's, primarily just for the time being, a hockey nonprofit organization. What we do is we collect secondhand and new sports equipment, again, primarily hockey for the time being, for underserved communities and underprivileged families that aren't able to afford their own, as well as collect donations of monetary funds for registration and cost fees for those programs, such as sports and hockey. Again, majority of the parents out there know that's how expensive some of those seasons can be for those sports. So what we try to do, especially during a time like this of a pandemic, and some parents may be home or not working. So what we do is we try to collect some of these funds for these organizations and these sports facilities for families that simply can't come up with the funds to pay for the children to continue with these programs. So yeah, that's what we're pretty much all about.
How did you come up with the name?
Absolutely. So Altronite, it's derived from the word altruist. Ultra, it's individual or a group of people unselfishly concerned for the welfare of others. So altruist or altruism. The night is derived from the word Brooklynite. We are Brooklyn natives from New York. So we kind of took ultra and night and put them together. So Alternite nonprofit was born.
Awesome. Well, a lot of times in Journey as well, we like to know the backstory of how this became a passion or how it came about. So you can take us back in there and bring us back up to forward and how, in other words, how it happened, who else is involved, and what that looks like.
Oh my God, absolutely. So last March, so we're coming up to our year anniversary here. So we are fairly new. Last March when the pandemic hit, and then when PPE equipment was nowhere to be found, as some of the individuals started making face masks for their community members, like essential employees, first line responders, hospitals, EMS stations. So we did the same thing, except we took a little bit of a unique approach. We tried to protect our fans and our athletes. So behind us, which there's some jerseys that are hanging up, some sports jerseys, again, primarily New York Rangers. So we took our own T-shirts and our own jerseys and cultivated face masks that we started selling to our fans and our group members on social media platforms like on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and raising the funds to use those material to donate the face masks to primarily, again, like hospitals and essential employees. So a lot of these face masks that we cultivate, I'm going to show it here. It's made out of an actual jersey, and we embroider numbers and their initials. So some of these all of these face masks are not screen printed or heat pressed to use licensed logos or products from the NHL or the New York Rangers. So what we done was we simply repurposed an already existing licensed product like a T-shirt or a jersey and started raising funds for our community. So from that moment on, we knew that we can do a little more since we started having some success and a following on social media online. Some athletes took notice. We started donating it to them, all the way to the point where, and again, and the reason why we're a Cinderella story is because we're die-hard New York Ranger fans. So, and that the New York Rangers team gave us a call. I mean, here we are selling face masks. Yeah, we're selling face masks to our community members and raising the funds for essential employees and frontline workers. And the New York Rangers team gives us a call asking us if we can make face masks right before they're flying out to Toronto to the playoffs.
Oh, so wow.
So we made these custom little numbers on the masks for each and every single individual player, and including coaching staff, and they were featured on social media and on TV. They were talked about on the radio. So it was pretty cool. We took it on from there, and actually through the IRS and through the state departments filed for a nonprofit license and our certification and our tax ID number, and we were approved. and we are here in the community
Congratulations.
to do the work. Yes, thank you, ma'am. So that's kind of
So,
how our little story began.
so my understanding is this, that the money from the face masks goes to get equipment for the kids. Is that accurate?
Every single dollar, every single penny, every single dollar goes right back into non-for-profit to raise monetary funds and to try to accumulate secondhand and new sports equipment uh, for these facilities and programs and families that aren't able to afford their own equipment. So yes, that's exactly what we're doing now.
Okay, so what gave you that idea to do this to begin with? I mean, the whole, not just the face mask, because obviously that was kind of a thing of opportunity by
Of
chance
course,
because of the
yes.
pandemic. So you kind of turned a bad thing into a good because you're taking that money for the equipment for the kids. But what made you guys want to just even start it? And who all is you guys? Who all is in that company?
Yeah. So it's kind of cool the way we did it. It's a family organization to begin with. It's myself, my brother, who's a professional graphic designer, my wife, she's the financier of our nonprofit, and I'm, so to speak, the marketing director, um, and the individual that's trying to spread the awareness and the mission. Hence, doing some podcasts and some articles and start some missions within the community. And the reason why we got behind uh, starting the growth of the children within our community, because we take personal experience from this. My family and I, we immigrated to this country in 1992. We were just at 8 years old, and trying to find equipment for us for the sport that we absolutely love to play. We didn't have the opportunity to do so. I mean, I remember getting my first pair of gloves and my stick. I mean, as a kid, you're not really emotional. Everything's excitement for us. So, I mean, I put my head into my hands, and I cried a little. I couldn't believe that I actually have the equipment just to play roller hockey, schoolyard hockey, and nonetheless to play on the ice. So we can personally relate to some of these children that are growing within these communities, and they want to be involved. They want to stay engaged. They want to be a part of a team, whether it's sports or music, performing arts, dance. Um, there's a certain of discipline that a child reaches out for without telling you they want to be involved. So we take personal growth here, and we can relate, and we want to be that driving force within the community. We want to be the mainstream leader um, on the front lines to helping some of these communities and these children to get off the streets,
Mhm.
and to be involved within a program. I mean, these are future CEOs, our FDNY firefighters, our EMS drivers. So um, we want these individuals to be a positive sign within the community. So I believe that if a child is involved with some of these programs throughout high school,
Mhm.
even if they're not that professional athlete they grow up to be, they still learn those key core aspects growing up of being a part of something.
So, how did you branch from the idea from being a kid to not having it to being able to, yeah, you're raising the money, but how do you get it where it needs to go? Like, how did you start that and figure out who gets what and how does that
So
work?
we're still a brand new organization. So our distribution lines are being worked on as we speak. Our marketing and strategic details also are being worked out. But for the time being, as opposed to just looking for families with household income and household size determination prospects, we're looking mainly into areas where um, there's underprivileged opportunities. So programs and facilities, for example, within the Bronx and the Harlem communities right now, where there's programs that are struggling to have some of this equipment, to have children even participate within these programs due to lack of funds. Um, so we're targeting mainly some of these facilities with uh, with funds below the, the family guidelines.
Gotcha. What were you doing before this? Because this was all since March.
I mean, I work two jobs. I've worked in the healthcare industry for the past 16, 17 years. I
Oh,
work with children with autism, and as
mhm.
well as I'm a property manager as well. We live here in upstate New York. I mean, the big dream here is to run this nonprofit as a full-time job, as a 9 to 5 or 5 to 9, whichever you may. The plans are to stop working and really diving within the communities to see how much we can help. So
So whose idea was it to initiate this and to go? Because like I said, you went from childhood to a jump of, 2020. Where did this idea come from? Obviously from, your own experiences, but that's a long time difference. So what made you finally make that leap forward to starting it?
it's like you said, to be honest with you, it's the opportunity. We're feeding off of how good we were able to do within our community. We took the bad of the pandemic and we turned it into good. Before we didn't see that opportunity. We didn't think it was possible
Mm-hmm.
um, to have the opportunity to give back to our community. Nonetheless, to the team that we grew up watching on TV, here we are watching our team score goals and meeting them after games, asking them for autographs or a puck or a stick. But here's, as an organization, we have the opportunity to give back to them. We're thinking, wow, we we actually gave something back to our team. We can absolutely. I mean, that was, for us, that was mind blowing. I mean, it was a humbling experience, and to think how we can help organizations or just simple families within these communities. Absolutely, we could. Heck yeah, we could.
Definitely.
So that's the driving force that's behind us. I mean, my own coach took us off the streets and put us in a league for a couple of months, kind of on the house, until we got jobs and we were able to pay for our own registration cost fees. So yeah, we were growing up wanting to always do more,
Mhm.
uh, sort of like a paid forward, and we have throughout our life. I believe a lot of people do that. I mean, whether it's passing by a toll and paying for the car behind you, or paying for coffee, little things like that. But when it's on a bigger scale and you finally have that opportunity, so these face masks was a wonderful stepping stone for us. It was a brilliant opportunity for us to continue giving back, because we've built up already a following, a crowd. Um, so we have some people behind us helping in terms of volunteers and ambassadors. So we want to grow this organization um, into something much bigger.
So what do you see in the future for Alternite? I mean, you're going to start branching out into the different states or different communities. How are you doing that? What's your plan on
Yeah,
that?
yes, exactly. So we have a 3-year plan. We know the budget that we want to attain. We know the grants we'd like to request. We know the communities we'd like to work in. Um, so the big goal here is to become an actual extracurricular after school facility, like a boys and girls YMCA club.
Oh,
Uh,
that sounds cool.
Yes. So, and I believe the big disconnect with children attaining, participating in some of these programs is the transportation to get there. I mean, a lot of the children get back home, they eat, late lunch or dinner, they spend some to do their homework, but to get to the actual program or the sport, a lot of the times, so we're trying to come up with kind of an Uber uh,
Mhm.
to a sports facility, or to an after school program. So we have some pretty cool plans up ahead of us. We do have a 3-year timeline to 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 get there. So yeah, we have some goals and some aspirations that we're going to reach. And
Very
yeah,
cool.
but the big goal is to become an actual facility. We do have 3 small locations to begin with now, just within a year of existence. We're in Albany, New York. We're in New Jersey and in Brooklyn, New York as well. These are 3 of our
Impressive.
offices. Yeah, these are 3 of our offices just to begin with.
Mhm.
But we're working on a facility, and we're looking to attain some sponsors, partners, and donors to help us along the way. So that's the main priority for us now.
Have you thought about contacting other hockey leagues to see if they're willing to donate their jerseys and stuff?
Yes, absolutely. Primarily for fundraisers. We're in the process of contacting some of these athletes and the teams to donate some of their leftover equipment
Mhm.
and shirts and jerseys, so we can kind of raffle off for some of our fundraising events that we have planned. But again, th- these these COVID restrictions, man, they got us locked on.
Especially in New York, Texas, we're not as restricted as y'all are up there.
Yeah, so it's very, very. I mean, there's a kind of an like iron fist on a lot of these things, and even booking of some of these event places, it's just tough. So we're working with the best we have. We're making the best of what we have to work with. So it's tough. It's just like the name of your show. The journey is real. I mean, the struggle is real to get there. But you know what? I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, "Oh my God, I have again another day, another opportunity, to spend time with my family and just to work on cool little things to figure out what we can do to better our own community, nonetheless the communities around us." So
I mean, just
it's
look at you see your motivation of the kids running down the street or playing street hockey even.
yeah.
Maybe not
So
now because I think y'all have snow, but in the spring and summers.
yes, I really again sincerely apologize for what happened to you guys there in Texas. How are you guys doing? It was it,
Uh,
it was just painful to watch
it
the
was
power, the loss of
because
power.
we're not used to that temp, and
No,
we only had power for about 20, 15, 20% of the week. Um,
wow,
we didn't have it, and then our city, because the city didn't have power, the wells didn't have power to pump the water out, so we were out of water for 5 days.
unbelievable.
So, but my family in particular, we're on a 5-acre farm, and so we're building it. I have a blog called the journey to fruitfulness, where we're taking the 5 acres that we have and growing it to a fully functioning, self-sustaining farm. So we've got a lot of stuff that helped us through it already. We have a buck stove. We were able to cook on it, and that's where our heat was. And we have plenty of trees. We were able to, have the wood. So we made through a lot better than others. But our neighbor had to wait in line for 6 hours for gas one of those days and 4 hours for propane. So
Unbelievable.
it was brutal. Um, it was not cool. Like
Yeah.
I keep telling people, I'm like, give us a Cat 5 hurricane, an F5 tornado, give us like heats over 100 degrees. We're fine.
Hmm.
But Texas homes were not created to sustain
Absolutely not.
temperatures that long, that low. And
Yeah.
so, you just kind of got to survive and do what you do. That'd be like
Yeah.
you guys dealing with over 100-degree temperatures for over a week. And I know not everybody has AC up there. It's the same
Absolutely.
give and take. It just depends on what you're used to and what the houses are built for.
Yeah, each single individual state are simply geared up for what they currently are set up for,
Mhm.
and I don't believe your state was geared for such a low temperature atmosphere. So yeah, I'm
No.
glad you guys I'm glad you guys are bouncing back, and I'm glad
Well, we're
things
Texas.
are
We
going.
bounce back.
Yeah,
Doesn't take.
absolutely,
We come back swinging. Knock us down. You better get out of the way because we're coming back.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
We have a few minutes left, but one thing I wanted to ask is how do people find you online? We've talking about if they find this podcast and decide, hey, I want to know more about this or I want to help. How do they find you?
Absolutely. So we most recently designed a very beautiful website. Is Altronite, ALTRUNITE.com.
Mhm.
And we can also be found throughout all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It is at Altronite. Again, Altronite is ALTRUNITE.com. And we do have a really cool donate button. We have our own story button
Mhm.
on there, a forum where you can read all about us. Like I said, we just most recently partnered up with a really cool organization by the name of the Hockey Foundation.
Mhm.
They donated 10 pallets of new and used children's equipment to
Nice.
us. Yes, that we are in the process of distributing. So that is not particularly for the Northeast region or New York region.
Mhm.
Hence why you and I are speaking today. We are looking to expand into other states. That does include Texas or Dallas or any facility or any family within your state as well.
Mhm.
And any children facilities that are in the need of our assistance, we'll be there to help. But again, if there's any listeners out there today that are looking to partner up with a really cool nonprofit organizations to take on a partner, to be a donor, or uh, a small or big business that's looking to do good things across the United States of America, we're more than welcome. Contact us at Alternite.
And now, is there a place from there if they have specific questions or specifically want to talk to you guys about something outside of the financial donations?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a contact form sheet there as well. You can fill it out. Send us any questions. My phone number on there as well. My email is on there as well. Uh, I'm on my phone. My phone is almost glued to my hand.
Same here.
I almost sleep with it. So yeah. So anything, any questions, any concerns or comments, we're always there to talk to anybody in need.
Awesome. We have about 3 to 5 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Um, uh, uh, what I really would like is for to see if there's anybody out there that would ever like to take us on as a partner and tell their own story, how it is like to live within your community, what your struggles are, um, so we can share that with the world as well, and take a good example and paying it forward. I believe that this world is changing. A lot of it is for the better, some of it is for the worst. But again, this is an ever-changing world, and if anybody's ever going through struggles, you don't have to go through it alone. There are organizations and individuals out there like us that are willing to step in and to help. So if there's a partner out there that's willing to share their own story, um, give us a call, or send us an email online. We can talk about it, and perhaps we can share it and show an example to the world what it's like to, like the Texans, to bounce back. Uh, and there's no shame about having some assistance from your neighbor. And we do think of Texans as our neighbor. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if you guys all
and during
across.
the storm, we did tap into our neighbors. We made sure that you
Yes,
checked in on our neighbors, they checked in on us, and everyone made sure to work together. And that's the only way a lot of people made through it.
I sincerely agree with that. So, um,
Okay,
like I said,
so thank you so much for coming on today, Tolik. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing your heart and your story.
thank you so very much for having us. It's really it's been really fun. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
No problem. And those who are interested in working with Alternite or Tolik and his family, you can find out more about them on www.alternite.com. That's www.altrunite.com. And thank you for listening to The Journey is Real, where we talk to real people with real passions who share a real portion of their hearts. I'm CJ Peterson of cjpetersonwrites.com. Until next time.